Hey guys, Dr. Ben Benulis here. Got a question off of Instagram, and if you're not following me on Instagram, definitely check me out on there. I'll probably post more to Instagram than I do to YouTube. It's just my name, Dr. Ben Benulis. Follow me on Instagram. Anyway, I got a question from Bonnie off Instagram, and she writes, "Hey doc, I have someone telling me there's no such thing as 100% non-GMO food." He also said there is such a thing, but it's only in certain parts of Peru where they have a certain kind of potato, something like that. Is this true? Okay, so this is a question that brings up a lot of points, all right? A lot of nuanced points. There's a lot of confusion around exactly what GMOs are, how they work, what is GMO, what isn't. And so, of course, completely new to the topic, never heard the term GMO before. It stands for genetically modified organism, okay? And so there are certain foods that certain companies have made genetically modified versions of, such as corn, wheat, soy, squash, papaya, salmon, and a few other things, okay? But not all foods necessarily have a GMO version. So there's no way that all foods can be GMO because there are no GMO versions of the majority of foods that we eat for the most part. Corn, wheat, and soy are a huge part of the standard American diet. They're also what's fed to most cattle in the United States. So they are a large part of the diet, and unless you avoid commercially produced meat and don't eat corn, wheat, and soy, you're probably consuming GMOs in large doses, okay? So to say that all food is not non-GMO is really not true because there are no GMO apples, there are no GMO bananas, there are no GMO watermelons, there's no GMO lettuce, all right? So there's plenty of foods that aren't GMO. But it does bring up the question, well, all foods that can be GMO, isn't it possible that they could be GMO now? Because let's say you grow GMO corn in one field and right next to it you grow organic corn, and there's winds, cross-pollination going on, and yeah, there's potential that there's contamination. Although I'm not really too concerned with the fact that the actual corn is GMO. The main problem is that why these foods are genetically modified in the first place, and that is so that they can either, one, withstand a larger load of pesticides being sprayed on them, or they produce a natural low-dose pesticide that kills some bugs, and they essentially genetically modify to produce a lot more of that pesticide naturally, okay? And so both of these, you're going to be exposed to a lot more toxicity, and that's my real problem with GMOs, okay, is because that they essentially create versions that are much more toxic because either what they're spraying on them or they're producing more of this, normal low-dose toxin in high doses, okay? So you look at something like GMO wheat and soy, they're making it Roundup ready so that they can spray more Roundup, aka glyphosate. That's the active ingredient on these. And so there's a lot of controversy around Roundup and glyphosate. It's made by the Monsanto company, now owned by Bayer. And so there's been debate for years about whether it causes cancer. And Monsanto will say, oh, we have 500 studies saying it doesn't cause cancer. Well, they have 500 safety studies. Most of those are for like eye or skin irritation. They have about 6 studies on cancer, and 4 of which were actually done on humans, and something like that. It's a small number. Don't quote me on that exact number, but the results are not favorable. And most interestingly, recently, Monsanto lost a huge case. They had to pay out $289 million to a man who showed that Roundup caused his non-Hodgkin's lymphoma cancer, his terminal cancer, okay? So we know it's a carcinogen, okay? The data's out there. The World Health Organization classified it as a group 2 carcinogen, aka a probable carcinogen, but the evidence is pointing that it's definitely a carcinogen. So if you don't want that sprayed all over your food, you don't want to eat foods that have been genetically modified to not die from being doused in too much Roundup. You look at genetically modified corn, okay? Created to produce something called Bt toxin, which is a naturally occurring chemical that it naturally produces, and they amplify it so it produces way more of it. And what they found with Bt toxin is that insects who eat it causes their stomach to essentially explode, okay? So now we're amping that up, and now we're putting this into the food supply, and we're wondering why all these digestive issues. Why do 15% of Americans have IBS? I don't know. Could be some food that's been genetically modified to make your stomach explode? Possibly. I don't know. Maybe. So, by the way, if you're having digestive issues, you definitely want to check out my Digestive Rescue Blueprint ebook. I'll put a link down below. You can check that out. And when you get it, you subscribe to my email list, get to see more videos like this. Got a lot of great content on there. So if you're dealing with any kind of digestive issues, it's a free book. It can really help you out. Check it out, and I'll be making more videos on GMOs coming out very soon.
If you're suffering from digestive issues like IBS, leaky gut, Crohn's disease, or ulcerative colitis, I've created a special gift for you. It's my Digestive Rescue Blueprint, yours free when you sign up for my email list. As someone who suffered from terrible digestive issues for many years, I know what you're going through, and I created this guide with the information I wish I could have had all those years ago.